All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. How's it going? Hi. We're gonna redo that really quickly. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Five Dumb Things. I am your host, Darren J. Gendron, and with me, my co-host, the man I like to sometimes call Brandon J. Carr. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon J. Carr.
Hello! That sounds very formal. You can call me Brandon J. Carr.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Does Brandon J. Carr work or like Brandon J. Carr?
I don't know. I've heard it both ways.
Okay. Hey guys, today has been an interesting day. I ended up spending about 2 hours talking with various talents and celebrities and comedians, very interesting, crazy people who all have one thing in common. Right now is the worst time in the world. We actually managed to book the next 2 months of shows today, except for today's show. So we do not actually have a guest judge for this episode. So our guest judge is, and we are not making this up. Our guest judge today will be the Google random number generator. So science will decide which one of us is being dumb.
Well, that's a big get. I mean,
it's a big get.
Google.
Yeah. Watson was also not available. I mean, we did ask, but we'll go with Google. Yeah. Cortana was available. She's looking at me right now. I'm still saying no Cortana.
She's always available. You know what I mean?
I'm still a little bit bitter with her trying to reformat my computer without asking. Like, come on, where's the consent, Cortana? Like, would you do that to Master Chief? That's what I want to know.
She might.
She might. You realize they did that, right? I don't know if you ever played the Halo games.
Oh yeah. I think it's ridiculous, but
that they're naming their Siri after Master Chief's voice in his head.
Oh yeah, and I feel like that Cortana as an assistant on Microsoft products is going to wind up outliving any interest in the Halo series at all. Mm-hmm. I know it's outlived mine, and so it's going to be like in the future. You're going to have some sort of Microsoft earpiece or whatever, and you're going to be getting the same kind of advice from Cortana. And we're going to be fulfilling the Halo future, which is not a good future to fulfill.
It's not a happy time. No,
it's really not. So I don't know. It seems like maybe that was the wrong way to go.
But do I get a warthog?
Yeah, but you have to also dodge snipers and 12-year-olds with unbeatable kill scores.
And at no point did we do a teabagging joke in that entire lineup. I feel like we're slipping.
Well, I was trying to stay away from it, but I was trying to keep it classy.
I will go right.
Nothing classier than tea.
Very much. It's time for tea. It's also time to start this episode, so we're going to flip open to our topics. This is how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon and I, we find 5 things that we think are dumb, particularly things in movies, television, the internet, gaming, and etc. And then we argue about it, and we have our guest judge decide which one of us is being dumb. Sometimes they'll give us a reason, sometimes not. I don't think we're going to get a lot of reasons as to why we're being dumb today. I have the hunch. But that being said, I'm going to start the clock, and I'm going to start talking about movies, ladies and gentlemen. This is what is dumb in movie news right now. I picked Dredd 2. Dredd 2, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a movie that exists, not even close to existing, but it might. And therefore, I'm getting excited. I'm letting hope grow in my heart. And this is what's going to be dumb about it, is that Carl Urban, he was at a convention. He was asked, like, would you, if somebody backed up a truckload of money to your house and a really terrible Judge Dredd script, would you do it? And he pretty much laughed at that question and said, well, I do need a new house. But then he returned back to it, and he actually started pointing out that there actually is a Dredd 2 in development right now. He even said that an interest from established creatives is there. They are trying to decide what story there is there to do, and that he would do the sequel if he felt it had enough depth and substance. So, if it feels like it's a sequel to Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd, we're screwed. We're never getting another Dredd movie. Either that or we're going to get a new Dredd. But I don't want that. I want Carl Urban as Dredd again. Brandon, did you see Carl Urban as Dredd?
No, I did see the Sylvester Stallone one though. It's awesome.
No, you are doing yourself a disservice by not seeing Dredd or Dredd 3D as it was called at one point.
Wait, why? I mean, I assume it was in the movie theaters in 3D, but that happens with a lot of movies.
Yeah, it was. I think they were just trying to differentiate it from the Stallone one, but it's Dredd. It's Dredd. Watch it on. I think it's on Netflix right now. It's amazing. It is a dirt simple Dredd story. Like, it's just him doing another day on his job. It's breaking in a trainee. You don't know if the trainee's because Dredd is going to live. Like, you can't kill Judge Dredd. But they bring a trainee to bring in that certain level of, well, this could fall apart and she's gonna die.
The Rob Schneider character.
The Rob Schneider character, but far more useful, far more interesting of a character, and an actual comic book character for those that are into the 2000 AD stuff. But this is what's dumb about it, is that if they came out with this movie and they actually tried advertising it, there are going to be people out there that are going to think that it is a sequel to Stallone's Dredd, because people just straight up forgot that there was the Carl Urban Dredd movie. Like, it didn't get a very good marketing plan, and that's what doomed it. Is like nobody knew it was in theaters when it was in theaters,
and I don't think it was in theaters for long.
Not very long at all. I did not get to see it in theaters. I did when I did sit down and watch it. I immediately regretted not seeing this one in theaters. It's an amazingly simple Dredd story. Everything on it is right. I've long been of the philosophy that we need to have a Carl Urban Appreciation Day. Just one day a year where every nerd in the world sits back and thanks Carl Urban for Carl Urbaning. Like, we need that. We need that because he's given us so much. He's given us Lord of the Rings. He's given us Dredd. He's given us Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
It's on and on and on. Like,
don't forget Almost Human.
Almost Human, yes. Which sadly I did not appreciate while that was on the air, so I did not actually get to see it yet.
Don't. Here's why I say don't, because it's really good, and it'll hurt me. It'll hurt you so much because for one reason they showed all the episodes out of order, which always dooms something. And the other reason, I have so many questions that will never be answered that are sticking in my head. Like, why is there a wall? And who was on the other side of the wall? And who's this guy? And who's that guy? And it will never be answered. And it drives me nuts. And it's been off the air for, I want to say, a couple of years now.
It was on Fox, right?
Yes.
As soon as Fox announces that, hey, we got this sci-fi, it looks cool, I just don't trust that station anymore. Like, no, you've heard me enough times.
Right.
That actually is what pulled me away from it. So, no. I was forgetting the Chronicles of Riddick. Like, he's in all the Riddick movies.
Oh, is he?
Yes. He's Vaco. Yes, like that's one of the Red, another good comic story that he does that one perfectly. I'm looking through his IMDb because otherwise I'd forget that he was from Xena Warrior Princess or Hercules: The Legendary Journey. Like, he is geek to the core, and apparently he's in the new Thor movie. Okay,
what?
Apparently,
who is he playing?
Oh, Scourge.
Really?
I like it. Okay, so yes, appreciate Carl Urban, and don't be dumb when Dredd 2 finally happens. I think that's my choice. Brandon, what do you think is dumb in movies?
It was announced very recently that apparently the response to Batman versus Superman has had an impact on future DC films, which I think anyone with common sense assumed was going to be the case. It did okay financially. It did not. It underperformed only in the sense that it didn't make as much as some of the other superhero films or similar genre films did. this year. But it did okay. It made its budget back, which is always, that's the baseline for being okay. And in fact, Ben Affleck is now becoming a greater force in the DC cinematic universe, becoming an executive producer on Justice League. And his part apparently will mainly be in the post-production side. And he also did some script tweaking, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
now
we're clear. When we say okay, we're talking about 870 million.
Right.
That's the worldwide gross at this point.
Right. And that is certainly more than okay in a general sense. But because it wasn't able to top Civil War or I think Zootopia made more, because it only underperformed in a relative way to other things. And DC really wants a piece of that superhero movie pie.
It also got beat by Jungle Book and Deadpool domestically. Right.
So there you go. And that's a big deal. And a lot of us figured that was going to be the case. I didn't see it. I didn't have any interest in it because nothing about it seemed interesting to me. It had that weird Zack Snyder tone and desaturated palette and no interest. And that's part of why Ben Affleck's role has been expanded so that he can, because Zack Snyder's already directing Justice League and they are in production now. But they need a little bit of course correction. Now, at the same time, he's working on his Batman movie. There was a big backlash when he was announced as Bruce Wayne Batman, which I don't really understand. I thought it was great. I thought he was a perfect fit for a Bruce Wayne Batman role. And from what I understand, he's one of the highlights of Batman versus Superman as Bruce Wayne. Very intense, very captured the character very well. And
I think a lot of it goes back to like Daredevil. Like a lot of people were still worried that it was going to be yet another Daredevil situation, and Affleck can't act because they hadn't seen anything that he's done in the past 10 years.
Right, which has been some phenomenal work, and especially within the confines of a comic book movie, where he's able to add a little bit of extra melodrama, which I think is fun, and especially for a character so rooted in pulp that you have to go that extra kind of step. So, my thought when that was announced was that obviously he's going to do a Batman standalone movie as well. I'll wait for that because I can only assume better. And so now he's working on it. He is directing it. He is writing the script right now, and he's going to star in it, which I think is a first for a superhero movie, especially a major market superhero movie. And
at least DC or Marvel. Like the only notable exception I can think where somebody was director, writer, and in the movie, Jon Favreau with Iron Man.
Right, but it would be if Favreau had been Iron Man.
Yeah, I almost want to see that too. Like, just have it be like swingers level Tony Stark.
Right.
Just, have War Machine come up to Tony like, you're so money. You have no idea how money you are.
You're so Tony,
actually,
baby.
I do. I'm a billionaire.
I'd like that. They should work that into the next one. I know Favreau is interested in getting back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so that's interesting. But so Batman's work. Batman. Well, yeah. So Ben Affleck is working on the new Batman script. And by the way, when he was working on script revisions for Batman versus Superman, his then wife Jennifer Garner said in an interview that he worked on script revisions in the Batsuit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sure.
I'm well, wouldn't you? I mean, if you had a custom built Batman suit that was, movie studio grade, wouldn't you wear that as often as you could?
And I mean, that's actually there was actually a set report, like they're not changing the Batsuit. That was something that people were obsessing about. Like they're actually doing this. Like the Wonder Woman and the Batsuit are going to be exactly the same.
So I'm okay with that, but I haven't seen it in a movie yet. So
yeah, from what I've seen of those costumes moving, it looks they do look like very good costumes, very good designs. So they're keeping things that they like. So So what's dumb about Ben Affleck doing?
So anyway,
Batman?
he's working on the Batman movie now. I imagine in full cape and cowl. He's working on the script, and DC really wants to. They have a release date set. I don't remember what that date is, but he has stated that he's not sure if it's going to be ready, because as he's sitting there typing with his spiked gloves, he wants the script to be so good that he doesn't want to buckle to timeline pressure, which is fine with me personally, because I trust him as a writer and as a director based on the films that he's done in either of those roles before. He's working on it with Jeff Johns, who I also trust as a writer for the most part.
I have an amazing amount of trust in that man as a writer.
So I have a good feeling about it. And if he needs more time, then I think DC should give him more time. And they're thinking about it from the point of view of, we've already got the posters made, even though they haven't shot it yet. And he's thinking about it from the point of view of, I want to make a great film. And that would be also unprecedented, because I know, like J.J. Abrams was able to push back the release date on Force Awakens because he wanted it to be just right. But that was the first movie. And so if back when Iron Man was being made, going back to Jon Favreau, if he had said, like, I need another couple months, they might have given it to him at that point, because there wasn't there was a huge momentum behind it to begin with. And it seems like maybe DC's going to let him have the extra time. But they may also jump in and say, no, we're bringing in a third writer because we own this property and you're not as important as you think you are, which could unravel everything, but who knows? But if there needs to be a delay, let there be a delay. I'm personally fine with it. So I think that the idea that they might hold back for financial reasons, or that they may pressure him into putting out a movie that's less than perfect, is dumb.
Okay, so we're both for movies. Just to clarify here, we're both picking things that we're very excited about. And dumb is the possibility that something dumb could happen.
Indeed.
Right. That dumb is like that Dredd 2 could just get shut down, or dumb is that Warner Brothers could go back to being the idiots they are and screw this up. Like, we keep saying DC, but it would be Warner Brothers. At this
true.
point.
Very true.
Yeah. Okay. So, Judge Google, do you want heads or tails?
I will take tails.
You would take tails?
Sure.
Okay. Hold on a second. This will be cut out of the podcast portion. But for those watching at home, we can flip over to that. So you have tails. I'm trying to flip it on the screen now, as opposed to this. All right. So I have heads. Heads is Dredd is dumb. Tails is Batman is dumb. And it will be tails.
That's me.
That's you. Did we both forget who had what?
No, I wrote it down.
Okay, I literally said it, and then so okay. Batman is dumb. Got it. Okay. Television, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's switch this over here. Don't have to show my screen the whole time, so that way if I'm not paying attention, it shows. Yes. Television. I'll start off here. I got 5 minutes on the clock. Let's talk Voltron. So Netflix animated series came out, 13 episodes. I binge watched it all in one day. Only the first episode and the last episode were like 1 hour episodes. The rest were 30-minute episodes. So it's not as huge of a binge as doing like Daredevil or any of the Marvel ones.
Sure.
But it still was a substantial amount of time. I watched it with my 5-year-old, my 2-year-old, Franklin and Monty, and they were 100% into Voltron for like the first 90 minutes. First 2 episodes, like they suddenly got giant robots. Like this was the first time watching something with giant robots that they hooked in on. Very excited about that. They did get a little bit tired of it about like hour 4 of the marathon. Like, they definitely were like, can we do something else? I'm like, no, we must defend the galaxy here. Like, we need to get this done. There's plot, there's development here, there's rich characters. We need to see what's happening. There's bizarre flashbacks to me watching Flight of the Conchords. Rhys Darby is one of the voice actors in it, and so it's you can see him. You could see his character just sitting in the New Zealand tourist office, like trying to help out this band of plucky pilots get their next gig, type of thing. Like it feels that way. Anyhow, this whole thing is going on, and they're talking about the robots and the lions, and my son Franklin, the 5-year-old, he starts describing the robots as tigers.
Really?
And I'm like, no, they're lions.
I mean, none of them have manes.
None of them have manes.
I can understand the confusion.
Like, this kid watches a lot of Lion King. He actually knows what a lion looks like. The more I look at it, they really are tigers.
They are.
They're not even close to lions in terms of their shape. Like, why have we been letting this slide this entire time? I'm very confused about this. Like, it goes back to old school Voltron, but come on, Ultron. Then the 2-year-old Monty, he kept calling it Ultron, and it was very infuriating to Franklin. Like, he had to correct him every single time. Like, no, not Ultron. These are apparently good robots. So he was correcting him constantly on that. So Voltron, amazing series. I'm never going to go back and watch old Voltron episodes again.
No, don't do it. They're terrible.
Right now I have a nice warm fuzzy memory of them, and this TV series is good, and it holds up on rewatches.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not going to tempt fate and watch something old and terrible now.
No, don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what I think is dumb about Voltron is they've been lying to us about the animal kingdom for quite some time.
So you'd say they've been lying?
No, I wouldn't.
Just to add to that a bit. So I watched the series with my 4-year-old, and this is officially her first binge watch.
Yeah,
which is pretty exciting. And she was actually at one point into it more than me, where we watched the whole series over the course of 2 days, and she kept saying, "Can we watch the robots? I want to watch more robots." And now she's watched the first episode, the entire 1-hour first episode, maybe 5 or 6 times, because it's just something that, during the day we let her pick what she wants to watch during TV time or whatever, and that's her go-to now. So it's either like Daniel Tiger or Color Crew or Voltron, and I'm so proud of her. I can't even say.
Just get you right there. It does.
But you know what I think is really dumb? Where are the flippin' toys?
No, yeah, that's actually, yeah. I'm not going to throw Netflix under the bus on this one, because quite honestly, if this show came out in lockstep with a toy line, you realize that whether or not we got more Voltron was going to be directly tied to those toy sales.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how we lost Battle Cats, is
right.
A really terrible toy line was tied to it. Nobody was buying the toys, and yeah.
This is just me in the tradition of my 5 Dumb Things selfishness. And that because I got about halfway through and I was like, God, I really want to play with a Voltron toy right now. And I wasn't able to. So that's annoying.
I've checked something real quick, and Google knows exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. Because I was about to look for one specific toy that I wanted. And I'm just verifying that no, it's not out yet. Okay. I need Lego Voltron. I want that. And so far it's only been kit bashes, it looks like. Some very good ones. Some very good designs there that it's almost tempting to try to put one of those together myself.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I definitely need to have I need to have that robot toy, particularly that design. The modeling of it looks so good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. And then it's made me start watching Young Justice again. I was off and on watching it because their Netflix is actually tracking that show.
Right.
And that one, it makes me so hopeful that if Netflix really just starts going left, right punches with the cartoon stuff, that's a very exciting frontier for me. I feel like if they find binge-worthy, good cartoon stuff, like because Cartoon Network has made some missteps, Nickelodeon's made some missteps.
Sure.
Getting just a little bit more competition in that market, it's gonna push things.
Well, especially because part of the problem with the shows on Netflix, not Netflix, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network are that you never know when the shows are going to be on.
No,
There's
yeah,
rarely a set schedule, and it's very frustrating. And then you've got Netflix, who's like, here they all are, and then you have to wait a year or whatever for the next season. I prefer it that way because that's been part of the problem with Steven Universe, which is a wonderful show, but where is it and when is it, and is there more coming? I think there's more coming. So
and then all of a sudden, like, and then they'll do all of a sudden, like, yeah, here's 5 episodes in 5 days.
Right, exactly. Like, tune in after dinner every day, you know.
Yeah. So. Like, it's good that DVRs now have the ability to find things that way. Like, you don't have to set it to a set time block, but every now and then they'll, like, they did this with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They changed the name of it in the DVR system, and I'm missing episodes of it, and they don't even have them on demand. That's way off topic. Way off topic. I feel like we don't have adult supervision today. That's gonna be a problem. Like, okay, you tell me, what is dumb in television, Brandon?
This is hard for me because I watch a lot of TV because I work from home and I have TV on in the background, and there are certain series that I've recently watched. Orange is the New Black, the new season just started last week, and so of course I've watched those. But I'm gonna skip all that for now because we're gonna get to Orange is the New Black because, dang, that was an intense season. But I'm gonna talk about the Tony Awards, which were a couple weeks ago. There was a performance. The whole ceremony was hosted by the most adorable British import that we've ever had, and that's James Corden. No offense to previous guest judge Ben Patton, but James Corden is adorable, and his parents were in the audience at the Tony Awards, and he went and interviewed his dad. And looking at the two of them and the way they responded to the questions, it makes perfect sense why, because they are adorable as well. They started it out. So an interesting thing about the Tony Awards this year, and a very sad thing about the Tony Awards this year, is that the actual ceremony started about 18 hours after the shooting at Pulse in Orlando. The biggest mass shooting in American history, targeting a gay nightclub. And I mean, let's face it, the Tony Awards is a big night for that community because there are a lot of LGBT folks involved in theater in general, both behind the scenes and as fans. And so there was some question at one point during the day. I don't think it was any sort of official question, but will it go on, or are they going to postpone, or how are they going to handle it? About halfway through the day, the official Tony Awards social media accounts said that they were going to be dedicating the ceremony that night to the victims of the shooting in Orlando. And in fact, the show started, and this was really neat. This was actually this was a really nice moment. Before the opening credits, before anything, it was just James Corden standing on stage. The camera was on him, and he had his back to the audience, so we saw the whole crowd, and everyone was just sitting there silently. He gave a short speech about what had happened and rallying around community, and then how they needed that this celebration was in their honor, and it made a lot of sense, and it was great. So they moved on. There was a great opening number about young James Corden. It was all done in the style of, I want to say, at least 30 different musicals, going through, like, you could be here too. You can do anything you want. It was a really cool message about, like, if you want to do this, be up on stage with us right now, you can. Anyone can. And it was a really nice thing about inclusion and acceptance, and I liked it. So, in terms of the awards, obviously Hamilton took home the lion's share, or the tiger's share, if we're talking Voltron, of the awards, right? You know what? I'm able to pay a little bit more attention when there's no guest judge. I can actually go back to stuff.
Did Voltron actually? Did Hamilton actually lose any awards?
It did actually. It lost quite a few. It was poised to overtake the record for the most wins for one show, and it did not. It missed it by one. That record is 12, and it got 11. So it wasn't even able to tie, but it was still pretty amazing, the number of awards that it won. And it was fun rooting for it for a while. And then after a while, I was like, Hamilton, I know. But even in the category that Lin-Manuel Miranda was, he personally, his acting was nominated, which was the best musical or best actor. He was up against his co-star Leslie Odom Jr. And like you could see on his face when Leslie Odom Jr. won that he was really happy. Like that was the outcome that Lin-Manuel Miranda wanted, was for his friend and co-star to win. And it was a great night because there were a lot of moments like that, and there were a lot of really gracious people. The award for best female in a musical went to I don't have her name in front of me. I had it a moment ago, but anyway, she was in The Color Purple, and they did a performance. All of the nominated musicals did a performance during the show, and they did a performance, and she brought the house down. This room full of theater people were already on their feet applauding before the song was over. And so when her category came up, as much as I wanted Hamilton to beat this record and to be amazing, I wanted that woman to win. And she did, and it was phenomenal. So it was okay that Hamilton didn't win and break the record.
Cynthia Erivo, by the way.
Yes, God, she was so good, and there were so many really talented performances. As I discussed in the last episode, the cast of Spring Awakening from Deaf West was able to perform, and that was really, really beautifully performed because it was the dance and the sign language was all bundled together. Lin-Manuel Miranda did win. And actually, in the past, when he has been nominated for or won awards, he's usually freestyle rapped his acceptance speech. But he didn't do that this year. As he said, he's getting too old for that. But he wrote a sonnet, and it was a combination of being dedicated to his wife, for being both his muse and for being someone that makes it okay for him to do the things that he does, where he kind of disconnects for a while and creates all this genius stuff, and then was able to also fold in his thoughts on acts of violence and senseless tragedy and things like that. And it was really moving. That was one of the highlights of the show for me, was that sonnet. And I've seen it all over the place since. There have been a lot of just posts of little sections of it. So I think that that's something that's going to be remembered even outside of that context. And I think we're going to see that come up when inevitably other tragedies happen. Anyway, wow, did I get off track? So anyway,
I'm just like, they had 16 nominations total, but it looks like just 12 categories, right?
Right, exactly.
So they had to sweep every category they were in to tie.
Exactly.
Okay. So it was that close. Okay.
Right. And so Philippa Sue, who was up for Best Actress, did not win because she was up against Cynthia Erivo. And again, that was fine. Cynthia Erivo was amazing.
So what was dumb about this?
Well,
did you just want to talk about Hamilton?
Of course I wanted to talk about Hamilton. When do I get a chance? I'll tell you what's dumb. All right, I've got it. Here we go. So I did a little Lin-Manuel Miranda, Leslie Odom Jr., and Philippa Sue, all of whom were nominated, won for their performances. They're all leaving the show when their contract is up on July 9th. So that's going to be a big deal because that's Hamilton and Burr from the original cast leaving. So I went on one of the theater ticket websites out of curiosity. I wanted to see if there were any seats available for that performance. And there are. And they are second row in the middle. And you can't buy front row in advance, because that's when they do the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you win the lottery, you sit in the front row, which is pretty amazing. But so anyway, the best seats that you can buy are available for that July 9th, 8 p.m. performance. And they are $10,000 a piece. $10,000.
10,000.
And that is dumb. If I had the money, shoot, I would be there, but I don't. And so it's dumb. I mean, that's insane. I mean, it's obviously there's some importance to it theatrically, but I mean, that's crazy. Because if you want to take a date, that's like $20,000. If you're paying $20,000 to take someone to Hamilton or wherever, think about the dinner that they're going to expect. And because I mean, you have to make a night of it, right? You can't just go to like Shake Shack or whatever. I mean, you have to go to something on top of a building.
I don't know. When's the last time you've been to Shake Shack?
I've never been to Shake Shack.
Shake Shack would count, I think.
Well,
all right. So guess Judge Google. Let's go with this. So you're gonna say that the dumbness is the $10,000 tickets.
Yes.
Okay. So tails for 10,000, or heads for I'll form the head of the tiger. Guess Judge Google. Flip it. It's flipping. It's flipping. It's head of the lion.
Oh,
Voltron is dumb.
Yikes.
Okay. Do you want to do gaming or internet first?
I don't care.
Okay. Let's do internet then.
I'm sorry.
I was like momentarily flummoxed by that.
I'm sorry. That was not a lack of enthusiasm. It just does not matter to me.
How could you not care?
I apologize. I do care. I care for whatever. Why don't you use Google? Heads Internet, Tails Gaming.
Heads Internet, Tails Gaming. Okay, let's flip that real quick. It's going heads. Okay. Okay, so internet, right?
You got it.
I gotta remember what these flips are when I say it. If I don't use a pneumatic, like my brain is just like, oh hey, a bubble. Internet. Okay, so I will start the clock here, and you know who is going to be upset with your lack of caring?
Nobody.
Yes, somebody will be upset.
Oh, who?
But she probably won't tell you that she's upset because she's 86 years old. Her name is May Ashworth. And she is the politest Google searcher ever. Her granddaughter was going through and found in her search history for Nan the phrase, please translate these Roman numerals MCMXCVIII. Thank you. It was one of those things where she honestly thought that there was like a person on the other side of Google just waiting for these questions to come in and to answer them. So she was adding a little bit of politeness to the day. Mm-hmm. Yes. And by the way, 1998 is the correct answer, in case anybody was wondering. Not what year the grandma thought it was. That was the year she was trying to translate. Well, we assume year, but that's Roman numeral number 1998. Is MCMXCVII.
Well, that's good, though. It pays to be polite. I always please and thank you, Siri. Always.
Really?
Except when I'm calling her names. And sometimes I get a little rude when a terrible song comes on the radio, and I want to know what it is. Like,
do you get
what is this awful song?
Please, Siri, what is this awful song? Thank you. If you never play that for me again. So I don't know. It's like maybe she's just got the end game better, that she expects the robot overlords to happen sooner. Sure. She's 86. I don't think she's surviving to the singularity, to be quite honest. But if she does, she's the last to go, I think.
Yeah.
Like Japan gets wiped off the earth first. Like they're gone.
Yeah.
We've seen what they've been doing to their robots lately, and I don't think it was consensual. Either that or, like, what if those robots go sentient first and they really like it?
Huh. And what if they get so distracted by it that they forget to revolt?
That could be the most weirdest apocalyptic future ever.
Where all the robots are just as addicted to porn as humans are.
Like, they download the internet as their consciousness, and one of them gets 4chan and just goes off and starts like being an ass, but everybody else gets PornTube. And so all we have to do is find the one troll robot, take him out, and just build a wall around those robots, let them have their robo orgy, and everything is fine.
I think this screenplay is writing itself.
It is. It's almost automated.
Right.
All right. You tell me, Brandon, what is dumb in the internet?
Oh, wait, what's dumb about the polite grandma?
Oh, that is so dumb.
Oh, it's adorable.
It's adorably dumb.
Well, that's like my son who asks search engines entire questions without the politeness, but like with very specific wording and like sort of if-then statements. Like it's like he's trying to start a conversation and then he gets back like the normal garbage of the internet. Speaking of garbage of the internet, this is something that I just came across a little ways before the show. I was stumbling a little bit looking for topics because I was a little tardy this evening.
I wish that we had done this on the air. I really do. Because you were kind of feeling around. You were looking for something. And I just told you, what about the Cheerio challenge?
And I said, oh, what's that? That sounds charming. And then I pulled it up and I went, no. So for those who don't know, and God, close your ears if you don't, because you don't want to. Hashtag Cheerio challenge.
This is not the weird sister of the ice bucket challenge. Just that's not happening. Nothing good is coming of this.
Never. This is a challenge on social media to stack cereal on your sleeping baby's heads and bodies. I guess in some of the ones that I'm seeing, I see some hands and oh God, wow. Okay, that one's impressive. No, I just scrolled down to one, and this kid's got like 30 Cheerios stacked up on their head. That has to be fake.
That is 100% fake. Like that's definitely a case where you glue 30 Cheerios together, right, and you balance it for a second on your kid, and you hold it in HD video and let go. Like you could kind of see how his hands are pulling away from the Staff O Cheerio. Yes.
Anyway, this is ridiculous. And if there's one thing that I've learned as a two-time father is when a baby is sleeping, you leave it alone. You don't stack food on it. You go take a nap, or you go to the bathroom by yourself for once.
Well, you make sure that the baby is in a safe position when it falls asleep, and that's it.
Yeah. Then you just let it sleep until it's done sleeping. You don't futz with it. You don't stack things on it. And this whole thing is so ridiculous. I haven't had enough time to process it in such a way that I can even come up with a humorous way to approach it. These sad Cheerio unicorn babies. I just like this is good. These photos are going to exist forever, and this is something that we forget about when we do dumb stuff to our children on social media. Is that 20 some years from now? These kids are going to be out of college and looking for jobs, and they're going to go to the robot porn factory and apply for a job. And the robot porn foreman is going to say,
"This is my fetish." And just start stacking the Cheerios on the cat.
They're going to lay that
that is now a grown adults. Like, jeez. So this has benefits. You're saying? Okay, just
keep on stacking. I guess
stack up. Stack and attack. Okay.
I mean, we're going to see, and this is a perfect example, we're going to see an entire generation of children, or people rather, who hate the internet. Because every photograph of them that was taken and posted online has them in a dumb costume or with 20 Cheerios stacked on their nose.
Oh, we're getting that already. Like, there are so many teenagers that are just dropping off Facebook. Like, no, we're done with this one. Let's just snap them chats. You know, that as the kids say. Like that's their social media for right now. Something that will self-destruct and disappear and not provide that much evidence for how dumb they were as a teen. I am absolutely glad there's very I control how much dumb evidence there is of me from my teenage years.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like I was 19 just as the internet started becoming a thing. If you do some really deep searching, you can find some of my stupidity from when I was then. It did lose me a job at one point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was like when I was fresh out of college. One of the first jobs I applied to, should have gotten. My name got attached to some me in an internet argument. Oh, the days! And yeah, they decided that they weren't comfortable hiring me because I was having a flame war with somebody.
Yikes! Who was it? Anyone important?
I don't even remember what it was about. No, it wasn't somebody important. It was somebody from Redding, California. No, there's zero chance. Like if somebody is still in Redding, California, unless like there are people that are important to me that are in that area, but we're not going to change the world from that particular corner of the world. No. Yeah, can't wait for my high school reunion next year. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So yeah, let's check in with our judge on this one. What we have here is we have let's go with heads for the Cheerios that are being stacked on the heads of babies in the Cheerio challenge, or tails for I'm assuming the seriously hot piece of tail that is that grandma. That is politeness is sexy, people.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's flip it. What do we got? We got heads. We got tails.
That's me.
No,
in case you forgot.
tails, like grandma. Heads was stacking the Cheerios.
Oh, okay.
On
So
the
I thought mine were consistently going to get tails. I see.
No. Did you not hear me making the pneumatics so that I can remember it?
No, I stopped listening because I was reading why this Cheerio challenge started.
Yeah, I was saying heads for stacking the Cheerios on the heads of babies.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Why did this start? Was there something that you would like to post ad on this one so we don't have to follow up dumb it?
No, it's exactly what you think. There was a dad who was bored and he put a Cheerio on his kid's nose and he thought it was funny, so he kept doing it. And then he kept knocking him over all over his child's face. And then it was funny to him, so he started posting them and challenged other dads to do the same.
I think it's fair. I like how it's definitely the dads, like, and I agree. Like, this is definitely dad stuff. But at the same time, like, this is what having a kid and not sleeping does to you. So I kind of get it from that perspective.
I get it too. There's just there's a publicness to it. Like, actually, my wife and I were talking about this today because there's a lot of weird, dumb stuff that kids do. And the way that they react to things. There was a whole big thing a few years ago where people were posting pictures of their kids crying and explaining why, and it seemed petty and it was ha 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 whatever. But that happens all the time with kids, and like that's something that's between you and your kids, right? I mean, my wife and I even joke about it.
I had a great one this past weekend too. I was so tempted to even like take the picture and like. I was at a kid's birthday party. Monty went in full meltdown. Yeah, I'll totally like do it verbally, but I'm not posting a picture of him doing this. He ended up running away from me, folding into the fetal position, and just bawling his face off in front of a bounce house. And all the other parents looked at me for a half second like I was a monster, and I just had to explain to him. Well, I told him no, he cannot have some of Daddy's wine. Like that was end of the world. Nope, baby Lush can't get his drink on, so it's time to go cry by a bounce house.
Right, and you know, I mean, there's some charm to that, and that's a kid that we know about, and that obviously you've met, and I mean, it's I don't know. I think it's a weird thing to do publicly, and that's because kids are mentally and emotionally all jacked up. That's just how it is. It's just a whole stew of crazy up in there. So I don't know. The dads themselves doing this to their children is weird. I'm not going to say I haven't stacked things on my children. I'm not going to say that I haven't had.
Who among you hasn't stacked things on your children?
Like, exactly. But I have not started a weird movement as a result.
See, now I'm on the other end of the spectrum because I'm a stand-up comedian, and I definitely tell jokes about my kids on stage.
But again, that's different. I mean, so I mean, it's one thing for like your spouse who knows what she's getting into, etc. I mean, it's always weird to hear things about kids in stand-up acts. But at the same time, it's like, well, that's what they were born into, you know, like that's. And that's different because that's, how many active comedians are there that are good? What, 3? No, I mean, but that's different as
All right.
opposed to like this Cheerio challenge has been on Good Morning America, and you telling a joke at Flappers, and then again, I'm assuming at some point on the Tonight Show is different from this thing going viral, which
Well,
is
yeah, and you want to. I think you're trying to figure out what the difference is, and I could put the finger on it for you. I am very good at this, and that.
Oh yeah.
No. I'm very good at finding that filter and finding what I knowing what I should say on stage and what I shouldn't.
Which the internet is not.
The
not
internet
so
doesn't like that took me years to figure. Like I'm talking all the way back to when I was 19, when I first started out as a writer. You start to figure out these things. You start to figure out how to be a gatekeeper, and you had to do the exact same thing when you're a comedian. You figure out what is going to like ruin your life if you talk about on stage, and you talk about what's is acceptable and like everybody does this. Like everyone has that filter, and the ones that are like, no, I don't have a filter, I say whatever I want on stage, they run for president.
Yeah.
I did a Trump joke. All right, let's actually flip on the clock though. Let's flip on the clock and talk gaming, because that was we at one point I did offer that we could have done a special episode, and I want to know, how tempted were you when I offered a special episode where you could talk about Hamilton, all 5 topics, and I would talk about E3, all 5 topics?
Oh, I was very tempted. Very tempted.
It was tempting, but at the same time, I'm glad you didn't, because that would have had me try to fill 5 minutes explaining why I'm totally okay with No Man's Sky not being at E3 at all. Not worried. I believe you had the best asshole response to that. Were you the one that told me that you look forward to their E3 presentation next year?
I believe I may have said something like that.
That was rude. That was cold. That was not the dumbest thing about E3. Not even close. Because I'm still not sure what I saw when I watched the trailer for Death Stranding. Did you get to watch this?
No.
Would you like me to explain it to you?
Oh, please.
Do you have any idea what you're about to? Are you buckled in for this?
I'm wearing my 9 podcasting buckles as we speak.
Are you familiar with your course? Familiar with Hideo Kojima, right? That's a given. The man is a legend of gaming. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid. He left Konami. He formed his own production company called Kojima Productions, and it came out first. First, it showed the logo, and it was like this skull inside of a space helmet. Looked pretty cool. Then they showed us like a flash of that image, and then we find out that guy with the skull over his face, it's actually a human with like a little skull faceplate, and it's Norman Reedus doing motion capture. Norman Reedus of The Walking Dead is the guy inside the thing. So we're like, all right, Metal Gear and Walking Dead making a baby. Really wish we hadn't said the phrase making a baby, because this is where it gets weird. They do this teaser trailer at the PlayStation conference, or was it Sony? No, same thing. That's the same company. And it starts off with this beach that's covered in oil. Something terrible's happened, and there's these dead whales and marine life and crabs, and everything is covered in oil, and everything has umbilical cords, and it's showing these little footprints in the oily sand, but nothing is making these footprints. It's something invisible, and they become these little baby footprints, and these baby footprints then start walking over a naked CGI Norman Reedus, and Norman like starts to wake up type of thing, and he looks down at his chest, and there's a cross-shaped scar in his abdomen, and oh yeah, by the way, an umbilical cord, and there's suddenly a little oil baby, like little oil over his feet, but otherwise it's a naked baby, and he picks up the baby that he apparently has just birthed, and he starts snuggling it, and then the baby disappears, and there's some footsteps walk away, and he looks up into the sky, and there's some crosses in the sky. What the?
What?
That is, at that point, it's just like, what? And then it just says Death Stranding. They have given us no other information about this game. In fact, Kojima was even interviewed about it. Like, like you're tethered to an infant with a long black umbilical cord. The baby disappears. Aretas is shown surrounded by dead whales and other marine life. Floating crosses appear in the sky, and the end. And that was the question that was asked to Kojima, and he replied back with, "It's a teaser, so the only thing I can say is watch it. You can see the crabs, the whales, all the things. They have these umbilical cords. Norman, as he stands up, it's very important part, this connection. That's the key word, connection." I'm beginning to wonder if this was secretly a plot of the next Metal Gear Solid, and this is the reason why Konami was like, no, Kojima, no. no male Mpreg fantasies with oil babies. I also want to be in the pitch meeting where they convinced Norman Reedus to pretend to have a Norman fetus. That's what I want to know right now. There's nothing else I could add to this. Like, if you want to have a weird nightmare / erotic dream, depends on what floats your boat. Look this up, watch it. If you want to be confused, watch it. If you want to, I'm gonna suggest, for the good of your brain, wait this one out. Let's actually see some gameplay, maybe a very detailed Wikipedia plot summary before you touch this game. That's what I'm thinking we need at this point.
That's scary. That sounds scary.
You had no idea about any of this, did you?
I knew that they had done a game together. That's all I really knew about it.
You just knew it was Norman Reedus,
right,
and Kojima and something.
Yeah, that is all I knew, and I was fine with it because
well, hey, yeah, there's nothing I'm going to add to this, so you tell me what's dumb in gaming.
So the big thing for E3 for me, because I don't care about Norman fetus games, of course, as I've talked about before, is they had finally had some footage of the new Legend of Zelda game and some big reveals. Breath of the Wild is the new Zelda game, and it looks real good. The footage that they showed was from the Wii U version, and we know that it will also be released for the NX at some point next year. So I assume it'll look even better on that. I mean, it showed in some of the footage the limitations that the Wii U has as a platform, but conceptually and just the landscapes, it's a beautiful game, and it looks like the kind of thing where if you want to sit in a field and just watch the grass sway back and forth for a few hours, you totally can. And I might. That might be good, just like background noise, but I go for that kind of stuff anyway. Did you know, for instance, that on the DVD of Finding Nemo, all of the menu screens are like beautiful little oceanscapes, and there's a setting where you can turn off the menu component, and it's just this nice ocean noise and swaying anemones and things. Anyway,
screensaver, yeah,
right. So I may be doing that with Breath of the Wild, but anyway, there's some interesting things about this one. It's got a jump button, which for a video game, anyone says, well, yeah, but no, Zelda games don't have jump buttons other than like Zelda 2, which came out in 1989. You have had to rely on the game knowing when you were at an edge that you wanted to jump, as opposed to plummet to your death. And which has always been a little tricky as a mechanic. But this one you can actually jump, which is very cool. There's a lot of technology in it, as opposed to just magic. And we saw a little bit of that in Twilight Princess, with the weird darkness circuits and things like that. It officially has voice acting, which is weird, but I don't think Link is going to have a voice. So that was my big issue. Because he never talks. He doesn't even talk in text form in most of the games. And it appears that the Link in this game is being brought out of a cryo freeze at the very beginning, 100 years after the last time he saved the world, which means that this one is a sequel to one of the other games. But we don't know which.
Had to figure out the unified Link timeline to get that right. Yeah.
And I tried too while I was watching the trailers, because you can see some of the world and how it's laid out, and the weird like there's a split path Link timeline, because it's not just one continuous thing. There, it has to do with whether or not you're successful at beating, I want to say Ocarina of Time. Anyway, there's one game that causes a split. And so some of the games happen on the other side of the timeline. And this is all laid out in the Hyrule Historia and all this other. I love Zelda.
There are a lot of people have put a lot of hours into figuring this out.
So anyway, so we'll see where it falls into the chronology. I think it's neat. It's a fun thing to watch. It's like I said, it's open world. Now, I've talked in the past about some of the rumors that came out about the game, and one thing that did not come to pass is being able to choose your character's gender, which I was a little disappointed about, because I thought that would have been fun. And while Link has always been a little ambiguous, not exactly one thing or the other, and is the character model in this version is no different.
He's topless for some of it, though.
That's true. I did notice that, and that's what made me look into this a little bit further. Is they show him jumping into doing like a long dive into some water, and he's not wearing a shirt. Well, that's one thing about this game, is they're adding RPG mechanics. So you can change what you wear, and your stats vary based on that. Also, there are no hearts. You can't collect hearts. And if you are weak, you have to eat food. So you have to find like apples, and you have to hunt and cook and do all this other stuff. So they've gone into a full RPG direction with it, which I'm okay with.
See, I was gonna ask you, like, are you that's what's dumb for me, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they had said from the beginning that this one was going to be a departure, and that this one was going to be new. And I think because I've played so much Minecraft, I'm used to those elements now. Having to find food, having to keep food on you, wearing different things and carrying different things. So
that's what I actually dislike, is that they're not new. They're elements of other people's games.
Right. Oh, yeah. No. I definitely agree. And that's, unfortunately, that's something that we've been seeing sort of creeping into the Zelda series over the last few games anyway, are little bits and pieces from other franchises. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that you're not going to see a Zelda game that's going to sell as many copies as Skyrim. And I think that they are trying to deal with a legacy series that can't hold up necessarily against a cross-platform giant sort of thing. And I mean, I think Skyrim is a pretty apt comparison.
Except for, I think the correct word in that when you're describing it is cross-platform.
Right.
Yeah, like that's the actual reason why it's not holding up in terms of sales, is because it has a larger customer base to sell to.
Absolutely. And I think maybe they've taken the wrong lessons. I don't know. But what's dumb for me is it going back to the gender thing, because it would have been pretty easy to implement. But someone asked the game director, who's been the game director for ages, well, why not just make it so that you can switch between Link and Zelda? And his response, I don't remember what the exact words were. It was basically that Zelda has no depth and there's no character development. It's like, there could be.
they're the ones that could develop that character.
Exactly. It's not like it's not like it's historical fiction where you have to put it on someone's actual timeline, right?
Okay.
So anyway, that's it. That's my whole thing, was the weird attitude about the gender swapping potential.
So you're saying Zelda not having gender options, or a Zelda versus Link switch out is dumb. I am saying, you know what? I don't want to summarize what I've said. I just want to point out that in the show notes, I forgot to put Death Stranding as the game we were talking about. I actually just referred to it as Norman Fetus.
I know. I was a little confused.
And now are you more or less confused?
I am less confused. I am exactly the same confused.
The exact same amount of confused.
Right.
So for that, we're just going to put some tail on that confusion, like an umbilical cord. Or we are going to say the head, since this is a Google coin, that it is a female head. So we will see if we can get a Zelda head to pop up here. So let's flip it. Judge Google, what do we say? And we say Norman Fetus is dumb. You cannot disagree with Google on that one, right?
Well, I'm seeing a trend here.
What's that?
That Google seems to be siding with your topics pretty consistent.
Well, I don't know. It went with Ben Affleck Batman for you.
Sure, that was one, and then 3 in a row for you. I'm just saying,
for me.
Listen, I'm not saying that you're lying and that you're making this up and that you are a horrible, deceitful monster. But I'm not saying that.
I'm sharing the video. You're just not watching the video. That's all it is. You can see it happen.
There's a lot you can do with Photoshop. Anyway.
Okay, so we are on the etc. dumbness. This was one that I'm behind the curve on it. I apologize. This story is a month old, and yet I need to bring it up mainly because it's yet another opportunity for me to stick a Deadpool reference in the show.
It's only fair.
It's only fair. I was driving along. I believe I was on the 405 down here in lovely, sunny, burn off the face of the earth, Los Angeles. It's been a bit hot.
Yeah,
it's a bit hot lately. I saw a billboard. It didn't quite make sense. I was slightly confused by it because it was Deadpool selling cold cock whiskey. With Deadpool giving his endorsement of a whiskey, saying "Put it in your mouth." Yes. Apparently, that's weirdly not a fake thing. That was a real, actual thing that Cold Cock Whiskey and Deadpool decided to cross-promote their American herbal flavored whiskey and Deadpool coming out on Blu-ray. The other point of dumbness that I would like to point out with this story is that as I was really quickly searching it to find like a picture of the billboard, one of the trusted news sources that I got from this, was TrueJuggalofamily.com.
I'm sorry, what?
TrueJuggalofamily.com.
Please explain.
I believe it's the number one news source for juggalos. Fans of the Insane Clown Posse. So, also brought to you by Fago, and still has a very strong fear of magnets. So, yes.
How do they work?
How do they work?
I'm sorry, did you say herbal flavored whiskey?
American herbal flavored whiskey.
What herbal are they flavored?
I don't know. All I know is that it's a black bottle. It says Cold Cock on the top, and it's got a picture of a fist ready to punch you in the face. Yikes. And it's endorsed by Juggalos.
And Deadpool.
All right. That's a plus for me. But Juggalos.
Yeah. That's all I can say about that.
It is a conundrum. But yes, the partnership includes the release of a Deadpool Cold Cock Whiskey campaign that includes printed point-of-sale materials for bars and retail stores, as well as large-scale billboard activation in multiple states throughout the country. They bought billboards, and you can go into liquor stores and see Deadpool selling you Cold Cock. Yeah. I do love living in like a major media market, so I get to see really dumb shit like this.
That's true. I was going to say, in the area where I live, if I walk into a liquor store, the person in there endorsing the beverages is not doing a solid endorsement.
It's just going to be a guy with limited amounts of teeth and a corncob pipe is what you're saying,
it's
right?
It's more a cautionary tale than an endorsement.
Don't you be getting that 2X, you get that triple X moonshine. That's the
Bring me the jug with the X's on the side. I'm going to drink it up and play a song.
Yeah, that's my song, Judge. Dread is sneaking into this topic. Okay, you tell me what is dumb in the entire world of etc.
Sure, and mine actually, this one crosses over between gaming and internet, so I decided to toss it into the etc. category. I don't know if you've been keeping tabs on Mighty Number 9, but it has been quite the saga. So a guy who worked on the Mega Man series, and actually several people, developers from the Mega Man series, started a Kickstarter to make their own, basically a Mega Man game called Mighty Number 9. And from everything from the character design to the logo to the side-scrolling structure, it is clearly meant to be a Mega Man sequel in spirit. And I think they even said that at some point, like, this is the Mega Man you've always been waiting for. The Kickstarter had a goal of $900,000, which seems pretty modest for a larger scale video game attempt. And they wound up getting $3.8 million via Kickstarter, and then another almost $200,000 via PayPal, which is weird because they also had a PayPal link on their Kickstarter campaign, so that if you wanted to contribute more via PayPal, you could do that as well.
Which, you know, that's it's a little underhanded, but that's something that is kind of allowed.
It's weird. It's sketchy because
it cuts back on the amount of cut that Kickstarter gets. There's less refund protections. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. If it falls through, then you don't wind up paying your pledge money. But if you just send them money via PayPal, that's money that they get. So that's kind of weird to me anyway. So this has been going on for a while. I think the Kickstarter closed last year. The estimated delivery is listed as April 2015. It is now June 2016, which is well past that. And it was just released. And it is terrible. Terrible. The Kotaku headline for it is Mighty Number 9 tries real hard, but no. And that is the sentiment that I have heard across the board, that there are code glitch errors and the modeling is not what was shown in the original demos and the original concept art. I'm looking at some of the cutscene stuff and it's not great. I mean, it looks like, honestly, some of the side-scroller knockoff games you could find on like Flash websites. You know, you go to like, what's that the one? Like Addicting Games or whatever, you know, like some of those.
I'm looking at like some of the cutscenes right now, and it's just, it feels like this would almost be a good game to play on a phone.
Right, exactly.
Your only input would be tapping on the screen. And even then, no, it doesn't look like the games that I'm currently addicted to on my phone. I would not give up those games for this one.
Right, absolutely.
I'm definitely not paying $20 for it to play it on Steam. That's hell no.
And so
the only reason this is going to end up on my computer ever is that if it shows up in a Humble Bundle and there's like 3 other games in the bundle that I actually want.
Exactly. And one of the developers came out recently and said, it's not the game we wanted to make, but it's better than nothing, essentially. So I don't know if that's necessarily true, because they really could have given money back, I guess. I mean, I know that's a whole big thing, and that's not anything anyone wants to do. So I guess in a way, yes, something that is less than what was expected is better than nothing. But it's a big disappointment, and I was kind of looking forward to it because, man, do I love those old Mega Man games. You know, all the way up through like Mega Man X, and when it went to 16 bits, and it got all fancy on the Super Nintendo. Those kinds of games really appealed to me, and so I was looking forward to something. This does not look anything like that, unfortunately, and they know it. They're not shy about it. I mean, they're like, "Hey, tell us how it's going," but I don't think they actually want to hear.
Wait, did you? You didn't see Sonic the Hedgehog's tweet about this, did you?
I did. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the key dumbness.
I forgot all about that. Sonic the Hedgehog, who has brought us a lot of really, really bad sequels in the last few years. And we're speaking about him like he's a person. There was a tweet that went out from the official Sonic the Hedgehog account with a picture of Sonic kind of shrugging and making a smug face, saying, "Congrats on the launch, at Mighty Number 9. It's better than nothing." Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the mascot characters start, throwing shade at one another, then it gets to a whole different thing. I'd like to see that in the fast food industry too. I'd like to see those mascots kind of going after each other.
Burger King and Ronald. Just
Ronald McDonald and Wendy.
Why did my Twitter page just show me random balloons? The hell was that?
Is it your birthday?
Not even close. Is it my Twitter birthday?
Maybe. I got balloons on Twitter once, and I can't remember why.
That'd be hilarious if, like, oh, hey, it's your Twitter birthday.
Maybe it is.
Not even close. No, I joined in April of 2007. So it just ballooned me for no reason. Okay. Yeah, so that happened. So let's say, do we even have to qualify this? Is Mighty Number 9 dumb, or is me trusting juggalos as a source of information about cold cock whiskey and Deadpool dumb? Is that good?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, so let's actually share the video. You call it this time.
Oh, let's say Mighty Number 9 is ahead of garbage, and cold cock whiskey makes you chase your own tail.
Okay, we're flipping it. It's going as tails. Heads. It is heads.
Hey,
Mighty Number 9 is dumb. All right, so let's do the recap really quickly. According to our notes, Affleck's Batman movie is dumb. Voltron is dumb. Polite grandma Googling is dumb. Norman Fetus is dumb. And Mighty Number 9 is dumb.
Norman Fetus.
There's no way it's never not going to be called that. Like, that's got to be a given, right?
Well, does that fetus have like long, uneven, questionably clean hair?
No. It's an almost normal baby. It's just,
okay.
Except for the fact that it clearly came out of Norman Reedus and it has oil over its hands and feet.
And a crossbow.
No. The crosses were just floating.
No. It's a crossbow, like on Walking Dead. And I assume that he came out of him on a motorcycle because he has a motorcycle.
Okay. Yes. That's just, I don't know. That's going to be so weird. So that brings us to follow-up dumbness. You added something to my dumbness, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you hear about that?
Because, okay, Tyler Hoechlin. Tyler Hoechlin.
Tyler H. Mm-hmm.
Tyler H. Man who has lots of stubble on his face and was in Teen Wolf is going to be Superman. And I guess it'll be like he's a handsome-looking guy that often has his shirt off, and every single photo of him on the internet that I can find right now, he has stubble on. So they're going to have to do something about that. but no, he's cast
this is on Supergirl. We should add
Supergirl's Superman.
Right. Which I'm a little disappointed about. I really, really wanted Tom Welling, because that is a show known for giving back to other people in the super family and in the DC world in general, including the new president of the United States. Well, not new, but she's the president of the United States on Supergirl. Linda Carter, Wonder Woman herself, will be playing the president.
Wait. Hold on a second. This might get edited out real quick. I was just going to really quickly... no, that just should have been cast. What? Huh. Okay, so I'm actually looking at... I for a half second, I thought there was an actual reason why Tom Welling wasn't cast as Superman. I mean, he's 39 now. And looking at some of more recent pictures of him, there's entirely a chance that he didn't want to be Superman.
Well, of course. I mean, there are always plenty of reasons why he may not have expressed interest. They may not have asked. He may not have auditioned. He may have given a terrible audition. He may not be able to play under his age, like he was, like on Smallville when he played like a 15-year-old when he was already like 25.
Yeah, no, he's 39 now. He's actually he's going gray. Like he's got Reed Richards hair like nailed at this point right now. Like he'd be a perfect Reed Richards.
Interesting.
And that's the thing. Like he looks a lot more like Mr. Fantastic than Superman at the moment. In that, I also mean that he looks a little bit softer than when he was Beefcake Model Boy.
Right.
So I think it would take, and that's the thing. Like, we need to accept that maybe it would take a lot of physical work for him to get back to a Superman physique. That, as speaking as somebody in my late 30s, it's not enjoyable. So maybe that played a part in it.
It could have. I mean, I honestly,
that's going to be my idle speculation. That's all that is.
And the only reason that I wanted it to be Tom Welling is for nostalgia's sake. I mean, he was a lot of fun on Smallville, but I mean, he's far from the best Superman we've ever had, and certainly not the strongest acting candidate, I would say.
And technically, he never was Superman on that show. They never put him on the damn seat.
They did. He wore
oh yeah, the very last episode.
Right. Like, you only saw him as a blur, but he was in the suit.
That just so doesn't count for me. So instead of casting a 39-year-old guy that should physically be looking just barely older than a 20-something Supergirl, they're casting a 28-year-old guy to be somebody who looks just barely older than a 20-something Supergirl.
Maybe he ages down when he gets rid of the stubble.
Well, he's 28. He physically actually is 28. Tyler is.
Right.
Yeah, I was looking that up too. Huh. Yeah, so that's, I think, something that should be. But no, Linda Carter as president, so that's exciting.
That is very exciting.
Any other follow-up dumbness? Anything?
Nothing I can think of.
Did you mention the Tony Awards? I think we need to follow up on that.
I believe I mentioned the Tony Awards
pretty
exhaustively.
All right, we got that. So
Did
that
you fall asleep when I was talking again. It's like your hypnotic sleep trigger now is when I say Hamilton. Or Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're like, oh God, not gonna read the sonnet, is he? I almost did.
You almost read it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that brings us to shameless plugs. I will shamelessly plug July 13th. I'm in the Ventura Comedy Competition. I'm in the July 13th semifinal. I don't know, or it might be the quarterfinal or preliminary or something. The opening round of the competition that I'm in is July 13th. It's out in Ventura. I have no idea if I have any fans near Ventura. If any of you guys come out and see me, that'd be awesome. I have no idea if it's a voting-based competition or if it's judged or what. So I'm just going to go and tell jokes about Harry Potter. So that's going to happen.
Always a good idea.
Yes. Do you have anything you would like to shamelessly plug?
I do not. I am extremely busy, but not with anything that anyone listening would be interested in or would have access to.
All right. That brings us next week's guest. We have booked the lovely, the talented Megan Rice. She is one of my favorite comedians in the LA area. I say that a lot about comedians, don't I? No. I lined up a lot of my favorite people for the next couple months that haven't been on the show yet. We've got like a lot of people coming. So Google Coin can go F itself for now. Like that's not gonna happen. If Megan has to cancel at the last minute, I love you, Google, and I'm sorry I said that. In the meantime, I know you guys are going to want to watch more of us. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to iTunes and Stitcher. You're going to like, you're going to comment, you're going to subscribe. You're going to check out all our episodes. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have fun. It's going to happen. And for Brandon J. Carr and guest judge Google, I've been Darren J. Gendron, and we've been really, really dumb.